I'm Kylene Jones.
And I'm Jonathan Jones, and we are the Provident Preppers. Today we are discussing a topic that is taboo, and that is what to do when the toilet paper's gone.
Stocking toilet paper is a no-brainer for a prepper. But what do you do when the toilet paper runs out?
Before the disaster does?
Jonathan and I have made researching and experimenting with emergency preparedness part of our life. Today, we're going to talk to you about some alternatives you might have when your stock of toilet paper runs out.
But first, a little motivational clip from our son.
Go, Sam.
I am Himaloma, god of running out of toilet paper. Fear me!
Thanks, Sam. Normally, we don't advise motivating ourselves out of fear.
But I am truly afraid of running out of toilet paper. After doing all this research, we're busy stocking up on more. Now, the average person everybody uses toilet paper at a different rate, right? I use a lot more than Jonathan does. But the average person will use about 100 regular rolls of toilet paper in 1 year. So these are double rolls, and this represents a 1-year supply of toilet paper for one person. Not that accurate because, like I said, everybody uses it at a different rate.
And of course, the roll sizes keep changing. So you're going to have to do a little experimenting and be aware of how much your family uses so that you know what to stock.
Alrighty then, let's get on and we'll talk about alternative toilet paper. So let's talk about reusable toilet paper. That truly sounds disgusting. And we don't do this on a regular basis because remember, I love my supply of toilet paper, but these are some things that we stock for emergency preparedness in the event that our toilet paper supply runs out before the disaster does. So whenever we have flannel sheets or pajamas or anything that's 100% flannel, anytime they've outlived their useful life, we cut them into these 8x8 flannel squares because that's just about the right size for getting the job done. And then what happens is after they're used, then you will wash them, and I'll talk in just a minute about washing them. The other thing, have you ever thought about what you do with your old socks once they're wholly and worn out? Wash them and put them in a container and save them for an emergency because these actually would work really well for wiping your hiney. And depending on how many you've stored, how long your disaster lasts, you could actually make them be disposable, or you could wash them and reuse them for a very long time. The other option that is really good in reusable toilet paper, you can buy just washcloths, the small, cheap ones, and store them. Or when your other ones get old, instead of throwing the towels away, cut them up, washcloth size, and store them. The important thing is that you have something stored to be your backup when the toilet paper runs out.
One of the challenges that you will have when you're using the reusable toilet paper is making sure that it is sanitary and that it will not spread disease. In order to accomplish this, there's a few things that we can do. In the wash water, if you add some type of chlorine bleach or vinegar and allow 30 minutes worth of contact, it should be able to clean and disinfect those pieces of cloth. However, sometimes if we're to the point where we're using reusable toilet paper, we also might not have other resources. Jonathan and I highly recommend that everyone store something called calcium hypochlorite, and we do have a post talking about how to make a stock solution out of calcium hypochlorite that you might want to look up. But with that calcium hypochlorite will last for 10 years, and you are able to make a stock solution which will disinfect. But if you have no other form of disinfection, you can wash them with water and hang them on the line to dry. The sun is an amazing tool, and the UV rays from the sun will be able to disinfect those washed pieces of cloth. They need additional exposure time, right, so that it can work. But think about that. Put that little tidbit away in your brain to make sure that you do hang those on a line and expose them to the sun to get them disinfected.
Another thing that you have at your disposal, or at least you used to have at your disposal, is a phone book. Now these are relics of the past, but if you have one or two of them laying around, that's a lot of good toilet paper. Or newspapers, which are also becoming a relic of the past, but are still available. If you've got newspapers around, or paper, these things can be cut into pieces and used for toilet paper. If you're using paper that might give you a paper cut, you may want to get it wet. Now some things, when they get wet, are going to fall apart. You're just going to have to experiment with that. But the wet may actually feel good, and it will keep the paper from cutting your little hind parts.
One of the things that can work really well for emergency preparedness is a portable bidet. You can buy them, they're called Perry bottles or cleansing bottles, and they're really cool because just like a bidet, you can fill them with water and...
Oh, hey, watch that!
And they also make life a little bit more fun.
Depending on your situation, you might end up needing to use snow to wipe your hind parts. Not my first choice, but what you gonna do when the paper runs out?
So as preppers, part of what we are doing is building our little homestead and having things that we grow in our yard that will help us when disaster strikes and when we run out of things. This is woolly lamb's ear, and this is actually a fantastic alternative toilet paper. Right now, it is the end of November, and this, although part of it's covered in snow outside, still is growing and fantastic. So you have this for quite a bit of the season. It has a lot of medicinal properties, but it is very soft and fuzzy. So this could be an effective alternative toilet paper. Any kind of larger leaves that aren't poisonous or pokey or anything that you wouldn't want attached to your tush could definitely be used during an emergency as a backup toilet supply. This one is just for those of us that have the tender tush who love to be spoiled. But it grows in the yard, right? And it will keep growing in this big, huge plant, and one plant will end up supplying a lot of toilet paper.
We've talked about some options that will work, but hopefully this has been a little bit of motivation to help you decide just to stock up on some toilet paper. Now, another word from our children.
We have toilet paper!
To learn the best practices for storing toilet paper, Google the Provident Prepper, no toilet paper, no problem, 14 emergency alternatives. In here, we will show you some great ways to stock up on toilet paper and to have the things that you need, because you don't want to be without it.
And share this video with your friends, because you never want to find out if your friendship is going to come down to whether or not you are willing to share a square.
Now for the question of the day. Have you ever found yourself in a place without toilet paper?
And perhaps what ideas do you have for our viewers of solving that problem? Thanks for being part of the solution.
One day we will